Is May 21st. It's a Sunday. My name is Bill McCamley, and I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla with your legislative update for the day. I'm out here in my backyard to illustrate a couple of points about some of the legislation that I've been working on for the regular legislative session starting next year, but you can never start too early, and I wanted to talk about it. So, I have solar panels, as everyone can see on my house, and the reason I do it is twofold. Number one, I think it's good for the environment. Climate change is real, and we need to start doing what we can to lessen fossil fuel use. But the other reason I have it is because it was a good financial investment because of a process called net metering. So, as everyone can see, it's the middle of the day here in New Mexico where there's a lot of sun, and I'm making a lot of electricity in my house, a lot more than I'm using. And in fact, this is a weekend, but most of the time I'm not here during the day. So that electricity then goes back on the electric grid. However, I'm at home at night, and as everybody knows, there's no sun at night, and so there's no energy being produced by those panels, and I have to use electricity that comes back off the electric grid. So the reason it's called net metering is at the end of the month, the electric company says you've used X amount, and you've produced X amount, and if you use more than you produce, then you have to pay a small bill. If you produce more than you use, then we'll actually give you a check for the wholesale cost of that electricity. Now, what we generally try to do is produce roughly about what we use in the solar business, when I was in the solar business, because that makes the most financial sense. Now, this works great for my house, but if you're a large company or a city or a school district with lots of buildings, it may not make sense to do solar panels on all your buildings because you may not have a lot of roof space on one that uses a lot of electricity, or let's say you're a city or a school district with a huge warehouse that doesn't use any electricity, but you can put a bunch of solar panels on the roof. But if you're only producing at the wholesale rate, you may not get the money back at the rate that you would get it for the retail use. So what I'm proposing is a bill called aggregate net metering. So if I'm one entity that owns a bunch of buildings in the same electric service, you can say we'll produce solar energy on this warehouse over here, even though we're not using a lot of energy in it. But because it's on the same bill, we might be able to offset the energy in this other building over here. So that bill is done up and it'll hopefully put in the next session. The other thing that I want to talk about is broadband. So as everyone, well, let's see right there. I have phone lines. Yeah, you can see them right there coming into my house, and they're old school copper phone lines. And a lot of people around the state have those, and that doesn't allow for high speed internet connectivity. And there's two ways we might be able to get around that. The first is, as many of you know, 5G service is going to quickly become a reality for cell phones. But in order to make that happen, wireless companies are putting what is called small cell radio nodes on a lot of towers around neighborhoods. They're not like the big ones you see. They'll fit more like on a street light. However, what that will allow phone companies to do is really increase the capacity they have in every neighborhood to do these 5G services, and that's going to become huge as more and more people use their cell phones for internet, or as things like driverless cars become more and more of reality and rely on cell networks for their operations. Now, each city and county has their own way of doing this, and so what we're going to start exploring is a statewide option to be able to do those nodes. The other thing that we're going to look at is how do we make sure that the backbone, the broadband backbone in every community is where it needs to be. Now, right now, it's a hodgepodge here in New Mexico. You've got different telephone companies and cable companies and even some electric companies that are doing broadband. So what we want to explore is, can we do a public-private partnership with a large-scale funder to say, okay, you come in, you put real heavy fiber optic cables between all public buildings in the state and allow other people to latch onto those, and you can increase the broadband capability for everybody in the state. So we're starting to look at that. The last thing I want to say is this. If you'll notice over there's a house directly beyond that gate, and I was up a couple of nights ago when there was a shooting that took place over there. And I just want to tell you, I've never seen, first of all, anybody shot before. That was a new thing for me. But also, the police, as well as the EMTs and the fire department that showed up to take care of that as soon as I called it in, the way that they handled themselves, the professionalism, the speed, everything was handled in such an amazing way. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who chooses to become a police officer or a firefighter, go into EMT services. The things that you do and you see on a daily basis are insane, and I just want to tell you how much you're appreciated and how much I am very, very glad that I pay tax money for your services to help keep me safe. So thanks everyone for watching this. If you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other issues, I'd love to hear from you, and hope everyone has a great day. Bye.